that news conference that was given by those who led the investigation and ultimately the discovery of Robert Card, the man who committed such carnage in Lewiston, Maine, 48 hours plus ago. It was a terrifying 48 hours. We did learn some new information about the death of the gunman. He is suspected of killing those 18 people in Maine. Moments ago, confirming that the suspect Robert Card died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound found late last night near a recycling plant where he used to work. It's a location that authorities admit they had already searched twice this week. Officials updating, though, exactly how his body was discovered.
So the Maine State Police tactical team ultimately were the ones that located the body within one of those trailers. And this is a tractor trailer style. You picture that 18-wheeler. This is what a trailer would look like. A box trailer is where he was located, right in the back of that. Some of those trailers are locked. Some of those trailers aren't. So he was found inside one of those boxes that was unlocked from the outside.
And joining me now from Lewiston, Maine, is NBC's Marissa Parra, who's been following this story. It was an extraordinary news conference. So many questions, and I think still some answers that are hanging there. People are looking for further answers. But given the big picture of this entire incident, Melissa, how this search ended and the investigation next steps, what'd you learn from this last hour?
Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot of new details. Some of what we heard was actually confirming NBC's own reporting. So I'm just going to go through the list right now. 7:45 last night is when Card's body was discovered at the Maine Recycling Corporation. As you just heard, this is a place that he once worked. The timeline of that is still something that's being sorted out. But as you just mentioned, he was found in a tractor trailer, a box trailer in the back, less than a mile from where his vehicle was found by the Androscoggin River. That was where there was an intensive search effort as recent as yesterday. Even in the evening yesterday, we saw that. Couple of other things. A couple of firearms were found at the scene where his body was found. We just heard from an official who said that those two firearms were purchased by him, in addition to another firearm that was already previously reported by NBC News. I'll get to that in just a moment. But in terms of Card's discovery, they said it appeared that he had on the same sweatshirt that he was shown to be wearing from the images that came from here at the bowling alley. And in terms of how long he was there, that's another question many people are asking. They said they're going to have to wait for an autopsy to confirm that, or to at least give them a better sense of that because of the timeline here. Now, we also had heard officials confirm NBC's own reporting about the long-style gun found in the back of that vehicle. They didn't specify exactly what type of gun that is. There's a lot of speculation about that. They also addressed the paper-style note to a loved one. They said that the note instructed a loved one to have the passcode to his phone, his bank account number. They said the tone of the note was one of someone who did not expect to be around when the note was found. And now, because Card has been found, we're obviously seeing everyone here transitioning to a new phase. And there's two parts to that phase, but a big part of that is now they can focus on the investigation, because so much of this was, the resources that were sent here, hundreds of law enforcement resources from all across the country. So much of that was poured into trying to find and locate Card, to give people who live here peace of mind, who were living in fear. Now they can focus on what happened before, the days leading up to it, and of course the weeks, the months. So many questions on that. A lot of evidence that they're still processing through. You can see the bowling alley behind me, just one of two crime scenes, is still blocked off because evidence response teams are going through every piece of evidence that they have here. And I'm going to take you to a soundbite. I'm not sure who it is from. It looks like it is from the press conference. I'm getting this from an email from my team here. It is from the press conference that we just heard from. Take a listen.
There was a firearm found in the white Subaru station wagon. That was a long gun style. I don't not have the make and model. You could ask me, is that an AR-15 or is that a this? I don't know that. But I was asked yesterday specifically, did they find a gun? Did we find a gun in the car? And we did. And that was a long gun. And to my understanding, that was the only firearm that was found inside the car at that time.
So it appears that what we just heard was what I had just talked about the gun and what they had discovered on his persons and in the vehicle. But to transition to this new phase, it's not just looking at the investigation, what is left behind here, what do we know about all of the things that happened before this horrific incident this past week, but also one of healing. I wanted to end on that, Alex, because that is a big component here. Everybody has been sheltering in place for the last 2 days, and the community aspect in person has been so largely missing. So we already know that there are vigils planned for this weekend, including one tomorrow, Alex.
Indeed, and they want to focus on the healing and also those who tragically lost their lives. That's very important at this point. Thank you, Marissa Parra.